where the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Monday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And rain today?
No rain today at all, Gary. In fact, the only thing we're going to be dealing with is a lot of heat. As
really?
We're going to be hitting the low 90s this afternoon. But this morning, as you head out to work, and if you look outside your window, you might notice a few bright dots in the sky. Jupiter and Venus next to each other, but just before we went on air, I was talking with Gary about how interesting this phenomena is. So Venus is a whole lot closer to the sun than we are. Jupiter is a lot farther away, and you can see them side by side in the night sky as if they're right next to each other. So it's so interesting to think how many millions and millions of miles apart these things are, and they just so happen to be right next to each other in the night sky this morning. So interesting phenomena. You can actually go out and look at this right now in the eastern sky. They're very bright and they're hard to miss. Temperatures this morning in the low 60s in Rome, 55 Hamilton. It's a comfortable start to your day today, but as we head throughout this afternoon, it's going to warm up rather quickly. Radar is dry as this dry stretch of weather continues. We climb into the upper 80s, low 90s. And with all this dry weather, I mentioned last week, we'll be talking a little bit about the potential for drought. We'll have all a look at that, how dry we are, and what we can expect for rainfall in the near future in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. One person was taken.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Monday morning. Hope you all had a great weekend. It was definitely a hot one. Lots of sunshine, though. Hope you guys were able to spend a lot of time outdoors. The heat, for sure, was something that made its return, and we're going to still see that heat stick around, especially for the next couple of days. But for now, we take a look outside. It's a quiet start this morning. Not a whole lot of fog due to how dry the air is right now. And we look at the conditions. Overall, no rainfall reported as well. Visibility, because of that, as you can see here, barely any fog across the state. And road conditions, green across the board. No accidents to report of early this morning. So you head out to work early today. It's a quiet, pleasant morning temperature-wise. Clear skies. If you spend some time out there early this morning to go out and take a look at some of the night sky as well before you head out to work. And then this afternoon, we'll see temperatures climb into the 90s with completely dry conditions. Very warm out there. We're going to track, again, how warm it's going to be the next few days if we officially hit a heat wave, and how dry it's been coming up in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. It's not uncommon to see helicopters flying overhead every once in a while here.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. On this Monday, we're looking at dry weather, but some serious heat moves back in again as the brunt of summer really begins to set in. Downtown Utica, live view outside. It's a quiet morning out there. Temperatures sitting in the low 60s, dew points in the 50s. So because of that, it's a very dry morning. Not a whole lot of fog out there. However, we've got this high pressure out to our east. This is going to be dragging in all that heat from the southeast, and it's going to feel like the low to mid 90s today. In fact, we put in that feels like temperature here. We're talking 90, 91, 92 degrees out there. So it's another hot one. So those of you who work outside today, pack some extra waters when you head out to the work site. With the heat today, thankfully it's not nearly as humid, but it's still going to be a very hot one. So the elephant in the room, the lack of rainfall, serious rainfall for some of us. We have had pockets of downpours here and there last week, but these are the official drought conditions across the state. And you can see there's really not a whole lot of drought conditions. Yellow is the level 1 stage, which technically isn't even really drought yet. So this is from the official drought conditions website, but this is our departure from normal when it comes to rainfall the past 60 days. Now, if it's hard to see in the scale here in the corner, basically it says, now my eyesight's getting tested too, in the bright red zone, it's around 4 to 6 inches below average. In the orange zone, it is 2 to 1 inches below average. So Herkimer County, Lewis County, Hamilton County, I should say, and Fulton County are all extremely dry over the past 60 days. Now, it's departure from normal here, and we continue to see the rainfall chances look very dry until Wednesday, our best shot for rain all week long. So the dryness continues, the heat moves in, highs in the upper 80s, low 90s. Tonight, it's quiet, it's clear. Tomorrow, similar story, mainly dry day, temperatures in the 90s. And toward the evening hours, we could see a stray shower out west. They'll fall apart for the most part, then overnight, maybe a stray downpour. But this is the biggest rain chance we have this week, being Wednesday. And even then, the rain chances aren't really that widespread. So a few scattered storms Wednesday. Other than that, it dries up, and the fronts are just really hard to find. We really need some sort of magic to happen for any serious rainfall to move in here locally. So for now, expect to water your gardens a whole lot more the next few days with the lack of rainfall and the heat. 90s today and tomorrow, and even in the 80s by next weekend. So no major cool down as the summertime heat still is in full swing.
Load up on that sunscreen today and tomorrow.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
For sure. Eric, thanks. The time right now is 5:25, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Liberatore. Our stretch of amazing weather lasted through the weekend, but how about here on Monday? Meteorologist Eric Gage is in the Weather Center. Good morning once again, Eric.
Good morning, Gary. Yeah, nice weather continues today. It's the heat for sure really going to kick in this afternoon too. If you were to look at the sky early this morning, you're able to witness an interesting sight. Planets in the sky. You can see these two dots right here. In fact, as we, well, looks like it's not pressing play here, but either way, it's Jupiter and Venus in the night sky, despite Earth being in between these two planets relative to the sun. They're side by side in the night sky. And of course, it's only for this early morning. As the sun rises, you lose sight of them due to the lack of darkness in the atmosphere. But outside this morning, it is a quiet start. Temperatures are in the 50s and 60s, and we're going to see dry conditions stick around for the entire day today as that heat really kicks in. Going from the 60s this morning up into the 90s by this afternoon, low 90s. So, but if we hit the 90-degree mark, it will be day 2 of 90-plus degrees. If we get one more officially, we'd be in a heat wave. Now, we'll track that heat plus how abnormally dry we are here in central New York coming up in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. President Trump is set to meet with...
News Channel 2 is brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery in Delhi. This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise, everybody, on this Monday. We start out with our photo of the day today, which takes us to South Utica. And this site here of cloud shadows. Great view right here of not only the clouds here, but also the vibrant sun rays. Quite a feat here sent in to us by John. Again, shout out to those of you watching from the south area of Utica this morning. If you have a photo like this you'd like to share with us to spotlight your neck of the woods here in the Mohawk Valley and in central New York, send it to the link right there on the top of your screen, WKTV.com/weather/pics. So we got some heat today, another dry one as well. We'll track that heat and how dry it's been, if any rain is on the way, all that and more coming up in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Heavy rains this weekend caused severe flooding in Wisconsin. Some residents in Milwaukee had to be rescued from their homes, while further west, many are still under the risk of severe wildfires. NBC's Maggie Vespa has more this morning.
Washout in Wisconsin, sweeping flash floods, swallowing neighborhoods, stalling cars, and forcing water rescues across the area.
For a subject who is trapped in the elevator, water is above their ankles currently.
The state fair closing early with huge crowds taking shelter before wading through flooded parking lots. Some cars underwater, this man sitting on top of his. This football field completely submerged. The Milwaukee area slammed with almost 15 inches of rain in the last 24 hours, a potential record.
We are still in the middle of it. There's another system headed at us, but we're doing everything we can.
We're already getting an idea of how serious the damage is here. Look at this. Floodwaters swept away part of this home's cinder block foundation. You can see straight into their basement. Jean Krajewski is the homeowner. Coming back and seeing this, you thought what?
Devastation because it's uninhabitable.
Floodwaters still surround Lauren Kaiser's home, a car stranded in those trees nearby. Water in his basement still rising after he fled this morning. When you opened this garage door, what happened?
The water just came coming in, and then everything in the garage started to float.
The same system proving deadly in Nebraska Saturday. Authorities say a woman died and a man was seriously injured after a tree fell onto a vehicle. Now, Milwaukee, the latest city slammed by flash floods, events made worse, researchers say, by our climate crisis, catching more and more American families off guard.
NBC's Maggie Vespa reporting from Milwaukee. A U.S. tourist visiting
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Today, another hot one. After a sunny and hot weekend, that weather just continues. A live look outside. It's a dry morning out there. It's a pleasant morning. Temperatures beginning in the 60s to start your day today. Slightly muggy. Dew point of 57. Other than that, that sunrise still slightly before 6 a.m. Unfortunately, though, we're going to see that slowly get later and later. But we still got some warm days ahead. High pressure firmly in place here across the northeast. That is allowing that surge of heat from the southeast to arrive in our area and, of course, bringing those temperatures up into the low 90s by this afternoon. So if you work outside today, just a heads up, grab some extra waters. It's going to be a very warm and sunny afternoon. The solar index will be around a 7. UV index, I should say. So officially, we aren't in a drought right now, but look at this map here. The reds are definitely showcasing some serious dryness here across a lot of the area, especially in Herkimer, Hamilton, and Fulton counties there. In the bright red, between 4 to 6 inches behind average in the past 60 days. In the normal orange, bright orange color, between 2 to 1 inch below average. In fact, Lewis County is the only spot here that's actually closer to normal. A lot of New England is still very, very dry. And we're going to continue to see those dry conditions for the next few days. Our best shot for rain is going to be Wednesday, and even then, it's more of a hit or miss type scenario, and I'll show you why here. So it's a dry start today, plenty of sun, temperatures near 90 degrees. Tomorrow, basically almost similar to today. Starting out quiet, temperatures in the 60s, climbing into the 90s by the afternoon. There could be a few downpours, isolated downpours, right around sunset and beyond in the overnight before that front moves through. It's a warm morning on Wednesday, temperatures already in the upper 60s, low 70s. And then you got a few scattered thunderstorms and showers, but some of them do fall apart when they get here. It's not a very prime setup for consistent, steady rain, and we're really just not going to see that for the next 5 to 7 days. There's just nothing here that stands out to us as this is a sure thing, good soaking rainfall. So for now, it's just going to stay drier stretch. I mean, to be fair, it's sunny out. I mean, enjoy the sunshine. I do know some of you, though, especially with those of you who are farmers or have gardens. You definitely need the rain, but for now, you might have to water those gardens a little more for the next few days. We'll be right back.
News with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Monday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And I know I saw it coming in this morning.
The bright lights in the sky.
Two of them.
Two lights in the sky, and we had some questions coming in. Were they stars? What are they? Well, they could be planets. Let's take a look at what you might have saw this morning. This was from earlier today on our Nexus, or on our Oneonta camera, and they looked like two very bright dots in the sky, or looked like stars. And as the morning progressed, you can see them slowly fading north and then disappearing as the morning twilight kicked in. And those are the planets Jupiter and Venus side by side. And it's such an interesting sight seeing this because Jupiter is much, much larger. Also a lot farther away beyond the asteroid belt. But on top of that, we're also the planet Earth in between these two planets here. So you have to have a right scenario for Venus to line up almost next to Jupiter. Of course, that happens in the early morning hours because, of course, Venus has to be near the sun. Otherwise, we couldn't see it. Why would Venus be on the other side of the sky if they're in between the Earth and the sun? But either way, it's a crazy scene to see out there this morning. But besides that, it's a quiet start. Temperatures in the 60s and 50s. Radar looking dry, and our next 12 hours shows temperatures peaking in the upper 80s to near 90 degrees. And while this sunshine, lots of it, is very nice, a lot of us are well behind when it comes to rainfall over the past 60 days. We'll track how far behind we are if we are in drought status, plus when our next chance of rain arrives coming up in your full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. One person was taken to the...
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise, everybody. Time now is 6:11, and as you head out to work today, it's going to be a quiet one out there. Great shot of the sunrise, by the way, in Oneonta. We'll look at that here momentarily when the sun officially rises in a few moments. But a look outside, it's a quiet start. The only area of fog we can track right now is in parts of, say, Glens Falls out near the capital region. Today, the traffic tracker starts green, no accidents to report of, and we'll look outside today, this morning, green across the board. Pleasant start to your day today, temperatures in the 50s and 60s. By this afternoon, though, it's going to be a warm one. We go from the 60s and 50s up into the upper 80s to near 90 degrees with plenty of sun. So dry conditions all day long. We're going to continue to see this dry weather tomorrow and for much, potentially the next 5 to 7 days. So what does that mean when it comes to the lack of rainfall or the rainfall departure? We have all that and more coming up in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. It's not uncommon to see helicopters flying overhead every...
Omni, cutting-edge surgery without the cutting.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Time now is 6:19, and after a beautiful weekend, lots of sunshine and some heat, we're going to see the same thing again today. A live look at downtown Utica right now. Clear skies, temperatures starting out in the low 60s, slightly muggy out there, but again, with that sunshine, it's going to warm up very quickly. High pressure in place here today, which is bringing us that dry weather, but it's also driving in some of that hot sunshine from the southeast into, of course, central New York today, keeping the rainfall out west at bay. And so today's highs expected to climb into the upper 80s to low 90s. A very warm day today. Not nearly as humid, main focus, of course, being just that intense heat. So today, if you work outside, just grab some extra waters. Stay hydrated, the main thing on a day like today. But it's interesting, with the lack of serious rainfall we've had, we're officially not in a drought status right now. I know a lot of you are probably seeing your lawns, seeing your gardens. You're thinking, that might not be, like, that doesn't look right. But I will say this, even if we weren't officially in drought status, just look at this map here. When you see reds, that means we're dry. You go to blues and purples, that means we're above average. And you can see the bright reds here between 4 to 6 inches below average in Herkimer, Hamilton, and Fulton counties. Dark orange, 3 to 4 inches below average, including Otsego County. And then Oneida County sitting at 1 to 2 inches below average. Lewis County is actually just a little bit below average right now. So that's an interesting sight there. But either way, it is a very dry stretch so far, and we're going to continue to see this lack of rainfall for the short term. Today and tomorrow, no rain expected. Our best shot for rain, if any, arrives Wednesday. Even then, it's really not going to be that widespread. 80s and 90s today, lots of sunshine. Tonight, lows in the 60s and 50s. Tomorrow, very similar to today, highs climbing in near 90 again. After sunset, there could be a passing shower with a best shot for rainfall arriving in the mid-afternoon Wednesday, or at least late morning, early afternoon. Then we head into the evening. A few stray thunderstorms pass over us, but again, it's not widespread. And just looking at the latest weather pattern data, it's nothing really sticks out to us as a sure thing, consistent heavy rainfall. So for now, yes, enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the dry weather. It's going to be hot, seriously hot for the next couple of days in the low 90s. And then after some thunderstorms, things cool down into the mid-80s by the middle of next week.
Yeah, definitely use the sunscreen today and tomorrow,
yes,
for sure. And be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter once again. And thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Libator. Our stretch of amazing weather lasted through the weekend, but how about here on this Monday? Meteorologist Eric Gage over in the Weather Center. And Eric, I think the answer is yes, right?
Yes, short answer, yes. Lots of sunshine, some of that heat's kicking in again today. Dry weather for the most part moving in for the next several days. But if you woke up early this morning, you might have noticed something interesting in the sky. 2 bright objects out east before the sun rose. And if you're wondering what they are, in fact, you can see right here a time lapse of them slowly fading up as the sun begins to rise. And that, of course, were the planets of Jupiter and Venus. Interesting sight here in the fact that these planets, millions and millions of miles apart, the Earth actually in between these two in comparison to the sun. So it's always an interesting sight when you see those two side by side, especially right early in the morning in the early twilight. So to start your day today, we're in the 50s and 60s, quiet morning out there, dry weather, and mainly some lack of fog, too, how dry the air is right now. And the radar is showing dry conditions. We'll see temperatures climb into the upper 80s to low 90s this afternoon with still very warm temperatures as this dry stretch continues. We'll track how far behind we are with rainfall and when more could be on the way coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. President Trump is set.
Storm Tracker 2 team, where we track storms. This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sunrise on this Monday morning. Hope you had a great weekend. It was lots of sunshine and some serious heat, and today we'll see a lot more of that heat as well. But first, your photo of the day takes us to South Utica. Shout out to those of you watching from the south side of the city this morning. And this photo here of cloud shadows sent in by John. You can see the sun rays surrounding that cloud there, and the underside of it looking very dark. Of course, that's the case with the sun being behind it too, the thickness of the cloud there. But if you have a photo like this you'd like to share with us, Send it to the link right there in the top of your screen, WKTV.com/weather/pick. So I mentioned the heat is on today. It's going to be on tomorrow, too. We're going to see a little bit of a cool down by the middle of the week, but cool down meaning low 80s to mid 80s. Well, I guess you could still call that still very warm conditions. We're going to track how long we're going to see this dry weather. There's potential for any sort of rain in the short-term forecast coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Heavy rains this weekend caused severe flooding in Wisconsin. Some residents in Milwaukee had to be rescued from their homes, while further west, many are still under the risk of severe wildfires. NBC's Maggie Vespa has more.
Washout in Wisconsin, sweeping flash floods, swallowing neighborhoods, stalling cars, and forcing water rescues across the area.
For a subject who's trapped in the elevator, water is above their ankles currently.
The state fair closing early with huge crowds taking shelter before wading through flooded parking lots. Some cars underwater, this man sitting on top of his. This football field completely submerged. The Milwaukee area slammed with almost 15 inches of rain in the last 24 hours, a potential record.
We are still in the middle of it. There's another system headed at us, but we're doing everything we can.
We're already getting an idea of how serious the damage is here. Look at this. Floodwaters swept away part of this home's cinder block foundation. You can see straight into their basement. Jean Krajewski is the homeowner.
Coming back and seeing this, you thought what? Devastation because it's uninhabitable.
Floodwaters still surround Lauren Kaiser's home, a car stranded in those trees nearby. Water in his basement still rising after he fled this morning. When you opened this garage door, what happened?
The water just came coming in, and then everything in the garage started to float.
The same system proving deadly in Nebraska Saturday. Authorities say a woman died and a man was seriously injured after a tree fell onto a vehicle. Now, Milwaukee, the latest city slammed by flash floods, events made worse, researchers say, by our climate crisis, catching more and more American families off guard.
NBC's Maggie Vespa reporting from Milwaukee. A U.S.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Plenty of sun expected today and similar temperatures, too, compared to yesterday. A look outside downtown Utica, comfortable start to your morning. Temperatures beginning in the upper 50s, low 60s, officially 60 at Griffiths and Rome. And dry weather influenced by an area of high pressure, keeping things quiet today, also ushering in a lot of that heat from the south. So that's what's giving us a second day of 90-degree weather and what could be a heat wave. Yesterday it was above 90. If we get tomorrow above 90, 3 days above it, technically would be a heat wave. Still, though, it's not really a humid heat. It's more of a dry heat, but it's still hot out. So either way, if you work outside, make sure you grab those extra ice-cold waters when you head out to work today. Officially, we aren't in drought status right now, but I think a lot of you probably looking outside, seeing the dry conditions, you feel like you might disagree. And, well, although we're not officially in drought status, these numbers don't lie here. This is a departure from normal for the past 60 days, and you notice a lot of reds here. The bright reds, Herkimer County, Hamilton County, Fulton County, 4 to 6 inches below average right now. Otsego County, Montgomery County sitting 3 to 4 inches below average. Oneida County, Madison County, 2 to 1 inches below average, and then 1 to around average for Lewis County. It's the only county here locally it's actually near average, but still, we're just not seeing any strong signals of consistent rainfall in the short-term forecast, even for the next 5 to 7 days. Our best shot's on Wednesday, and even then, it's luck of the draw and who sees it. Still today, though, it's dry, it's sunny, temperatures climbing into the upper 80s. Tonight, lows in the 60s and 50s. Tomorrow, similar to today, with temperatures climbing up into the upper 80s, near 90 degrees. As we head into Tuesday evening, the Tuesday night, you can see a couple of those showers passing over us, isolated to turning scattered by Wednesday morning. Hit or miss showers and storms by the afternoon. But then, following that, we dry up again. So again, we look at this next 5 to 7 day stretch and just really not a whole lot of strong rain signals here. But we're going to still keep a close eye on it. And for now, though, I recommend watering those plants, watering those gardens, because there's no rainfall. Mother Nature's not doing it for us, at least for the next few days.
Yeah, those lawns are brown.
Yes, crunchy and brown.
Very crunchy, that's for sure. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on now. And Eric, boy, is it hot out today.
Yeah, today's heat really starting to kick in already in the upper 80s right now. In fact, a look in Utica. Now, here's the thing. Remember a week ago, Gary, we looked outside, the skies were white. Remember all the haze? Quite the difference when all that haze is gone. You actually see blue out there, and that's the case right now. Live look at downtown Utica, you can see those conditions still looking really clear. 86 the temperature right now, southeast wind to 7 miles per hour, and you can see the much of the state here in the upper 80s, 87 Syracuse, 85 Rochester, 86 in Rome. The difference here is the humidity. Unlike the previous high heats, maybe not quite heat waves, but just high heat stretches we've had, it's been met with tropical humidity, just air you can wear, very high, basically very high humidity. Today's different. It's low humidity heat, which means the temperatures, the actual temperatures, can warm up a lot faster, despite it not quite feeling like 100 degrees out like what we saw in those other previous stretches. So technically we hit 90, 91 degrees today, but it will feel like 90, 91. No additional humidity on top of that too. But the main thing is it's sunny today. It's been sunny. It will continue to be sunny. There's a chance for some rain in the middle of the week, but not a whole lot of rain. We're going to see exactly where we stand when it comes to the last 60 days of rainfall. All that and more coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Well, severe storms struck the Midwest this weekend, dumping around a foot of rain on Milwaukee, causing flooding that canceled the last day of the Wisconsin State Fair and damaging a Nebraska prison to the extent that inmates had to be moved. NBC's Maggie Vespa reports from Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Hey there, it was a harrowing weekend here in Wisconsin. 14.5 inches of rain in 24 hours, a potential record. Coming in hard, coming in fast, swelling rivers and streams like the Fox River behind me. You can see it's still up and over that pedestrian walkway. This caution tape clearly here for a reason. And then we move over here, you can see how high it is, how fast it's moving. Floodwaters, and we have video of this, just surging into neighborhoods, flooding homes, submerging cars, water rescues stacking up by the dozen over the weekend. The State Fair in Wisconsin had to close early, people wading through the water to get out of there. And this is other wild weather kicks up across the country. We saw severe winds from South Carolina, beach umbrellas flying into the ocean during a reported water spout there. Nebraska, a roof being torn off of a prison. In Denver, severe storms throwing a wrench into summer air travel. Close to 70 flights canceled, 1,000 delayed out of that airport on Sunday alone. And then finally, of course, we are watching the wildfires and the extreme heat out west. Fires burning in Colorado, Arizona, California. Evacuation orders being issued in Colorado. The sky was thick with smoke. One person posting, "It feels like Armageddon." Back here in Wisconsin, the good news is a lot of these flood alerts expiring throughout the day today, bringing relief here as people, frankly, begin to dry out. Back to you.
NBC's Maggie Vespa reporting from Wisconsin today. Governor Hochul.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today, another hot one out there, and we take a look in Old Forge this afternoon. A live view of blue skies and a pretty busy main street out there. 82 the temperature in Old Forge. So those in the Adirondacks, you're really not going to see the 90-degree day, obviously, but it's still pretty high E up there in the North Country. High pressure drives our weather today, and it's interesting because despite this strong south wind ushering in all that heat, we're not seeing a whole lot of humidity from it. I think because we're getting a lot more of that air from the Midwest and less of the southeast. Now, once we get more of that southeast air, I think that's when we really will start to notice that heat, especially by the middle of the week, closer to Wednesday. But for now, we're talking 90s and low humidity with high heat. As you can see here, 90, 91 degrees the high today, and that dew point sitting in the mid-50s. So with the sunshine today and tomorrow and what we saw over the weekend, it's pretty dry out there. Now officially we aren't in a drought stage right now, but we take a look at the departure from normal, our rainfall totals so far in the past 60 days, and you can see here there's a lot of red. Now the scale might be a bit hard to read, so I'll just explain what the colors are. The bright reds between 4 and 6 inches below average, the dark orange sitting at 3 to 4 inches below average, the lighter orange sitting at 1 to 2 inches below average, and the yellow 0 to 1 inch below average. So you can see quite the range across our area. Herkimer, Hamilton, Fulton counties, all extremely dry, as well as pretty much all of the Northeast. And we're likely not to see a whole lot of relief in the near-term forecast for rainfall. Wednesday's our best bet, and even then, it doesn't look that impressive for widespread, consistent rain. So today, temperatures climb into the low 90s, lots of sunshine. By tonight, lows fall down into the 60s and 50s. A very comfortable overnight and a very comfortable start to the day tomorrow. And then by tomorrow afternoon, we're back into the upper 80s, low 90s with a dry evening, but then closer to sunset, an approaching front will possibly fire up a few showers and downpours overnight. And then by Wednesday morning to Wednesday afternoon, you can see these sporadic on and off thunderstorms. Hopefully, some of these produce some notable rain in pockets, but I don't think it's widespread. So it's mainly luck of the draw. I wouldn't count on it seeing a good, consistent rain, but basically anything is beneficial at this point. But following those storms and showers Wednesday, we're back to dry weather. Thursday and Friday, even heading into the weekend, so far is looking pretty warm and pretty sunny, highs in the mid-80s. So, I mean, yeah, it's still pretty dry out, but, you know, the days of sunshine, I always think back to the times in winter when it's cloudy and cold, and I'm like, well, at least we're seeing the sun out today. So
yeah, I don't mind the 90s.
Yeah, I don't mind it either.
And another great weekend ahead, too.
Yeah, looks like it's good so far.
Yeah, Eric, thanks. Members of Cornhill. Switching gears, meteorologist Eric Gage joining us now. And Eric, it is heating up outside.
Yeah, temperatures climbing. In fact, the sun is shining a whole lot more today versus last week with all that haze. In fact, take a look outside in Utica where the blue is ever so prevalent out there right now. 86 the temperature, and it's climbing. But I'll focus a bit more on that number 58, which is next to dew point here, and that is the key to what this day feels like, at least compared to normal heat waves you get here in central New York. So this past summer, we have had our fair share of heat, but again, today, tomorrow, it's different, mainly due to these numbers here, 58, 55, 58. The dew points are still in the 50s. It is a dry heat out there, so unlike weeks past where it was a very humid stretch along with that heat, today's weather, not even too bad. For example, you'll notice the difference when you get out of the sun and you sit underneath a tree or an umbrella, how much more comfortable it is. Those of you who have lived in some arid environments and have moved here would probably vouch for that too. You get out of the direct sunlight, it's very comfortable, but yes, it's still very dry. So make sure you're hydrated today. Temperatures in the 90s. We're going to track our next chance of rainfall this week. Spoiler, it's not really a whole lot. Plus, where we trend, the average when it comes to those, at least the amount of rainfall we've seen in the past 60 days, coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Now to some terrifying moments aboard a cruise.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today, the sun definitely shining in full force. We have those temperatures climbing into the 80s, eventually 90s this afternoon. Old Forge Live View, 84 degrees, so not quite the intense heat, but it's still very warm up there nonetheless. A great water safari day maybe to spend time up there in Enchanted Forest. But either way, it's all driven by this area of high pressure here. And the difference today compared to previous days, I think we're getting more of this wind from the Midwest versus the South, which is why we're seeing dry, hot air versus moist, hot air like we usually get if we get that high pressure pushing in that high humidity air from the southeast. So, hot air moving in, it's going to be in the upper 80s, low 90s in the next few days. As you can see here, 80, or I should say 90, 91 degrees, dew points in the 50s. So it's still going to be a dry and hot stretch of weather. And speaking of dry, well, there's a serious lack of rainfall. We aren't officially in drought status right now. Here's a look at the latest drought monitor from the government here. But when it comes to departure from normal here, this is where we really start to see the difference. So this map, the bright reds, 4 to 6 inches below average for rainfall in the past 60 days. The dark orange is between what looks to be 3 to 4 inches, 2 to 3 inches in the lighter orange, and 0 to 1 inches in the yellow. So you can see right here just the sheer amount of dry weather, especially in parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and of course sections of here in central New York. And there's really no relief in sight when it comes to any sort of major rainfall event. Yes, Wednesday is our next chance, but it just doesn't really look that impressive for any beneficial soaking rainfall. And I'll show you right here. Sunshine, dry weather today, upper 80s, low 90s. Tonight, comfortable, lows in the 60s and 50s. Tomorrow, back into the 80s and 90s again, mainly dry, and then by the evening after sunset, a few isolated downpours fire up. It's look at the draw. If you get hit by one of these, consider yourself lucky you got your first rainfall in quite a while, because after that, we'll see that front pass through in the afternoon and evening, a few scattered thunderstorms and downpours, and then things dry out again as we head into the end of the week. And so your 7-day forecast, you notice here there's a serious lack of rainfall icons, and this warm and dry stretch continues for the next few days. Thursday and Friday, temperatures in the low to mid 80s, so it does cool down a little bit, but then we're back into the mid 80s with plenty of sunshine Saturday and Sunday. So overall, pretty nice and sunny stretch, but I do think at some point we could use the rainfall. Yeah. So
we sure could, but what a 7-day that is.
Isn't it nice?
Yeah. Eric, thanks. We are following some breaking.
Meteorologist James DeFazio.
Very, very hot weather continues. We are 2/3 of our way through an official heat wave. High of 92 so far at Griffiths. And if we hit 90 again tomorrow, which looks very likely, we will have our first official heat wave of the summer. Temperatures across central New York in the upper 80s to low 90s. Many of us reached that 90-degree plateau today. Some of the southern hills right now hanging on to mid to upper 80s. One more very warm day with highs in the low 90s. And then we settle into what is still warm weather for this time of year, mid 80s. We're not going to cool down all that much. We're just not going to be seeing this extreme heat. Mostly sunny skies and dry weather continues downtown Utica. Dry weather continues on your Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar through today and through tomorrow. 91 degrees with sunny skies currently in Rome. A very low dew point making for very refreshing conditions. It's been a very dry heat that we've had, and it's made for very comfortable levels for these temperatures. Coming up, we're going to break down more about that dew point, as well as when rainfall makes its return to the forecast. Tonight, temperatures are going to hang on 80 to 85 degrees with hot conditions. Kristen, Jason?
All right, thank you, sir. Work continues on the Main Street.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist James DeFazio.
Good Monday evening. Meteorologist James DeFazio here, continuing to track very, very hot weather. But as you can see off the Cavity Tower Cam, we do have good air quality, and that looks to continue for at least several more days. We're going to have one more hot day. We cracked the 90-degree mark already in Griffiths, a high of 92 at the very least in Rome. We're still at 91 degrees in downtown Utica with mostly sunny skies. We are 2/3 of our way through a heat wave. Tomorrow we likely hit 90 again, and that would make it an official heat wave, 3 consecutive 90-plus degree days. We're tracking scattered showers and storms to arrive throughout the day on Wednesday. Several rounds of showers around in the morning, around in the mid-afternoon as well. A couple rounds of very weak thunderstorms. And then dry weather returns to end the week and to begin the start of the weekend. 91 degrees in Rome right now with sunny skies and a 46-degree dew point. Just incredible how dry this air is right now. We've seen very low levels of humidity. We haven't had to deal with very much of a heat index at all. It's very hot, but there is no humidity making it worse, thankfully. Your full battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, quiet, dry. That continues until early Wednesday morning. We continue to see dry conditions. Air quality and the wildfire smoke continues to remain very light in our region, and that doesn't look to change anytime soon. Currently, the state of Minnesota seeing very, very poor air quality. And you can see at the end of the loop here by Wednesday morning, that smoke plume beginning to approach western Michigan. So we're going to be keeping a very close eye on that. Cold front begins to approach our area on Wednesday, and that is what is going to bring this round of showers. By 10 a.m., we look to see a round of showers working through central New York. Another round of showers works through during the mid-afternoon, and then drier weather settles in for Thursday. Because of that, we recommend getting your lawn cut on Tuesday or Thursday if you need to do so. Otherwise, Wednesday is looking like a tough day to get the lawn cut with several rounds of rain. I have this Skycast sped up until Tuesday night because there's really not much to show you with how much dry weather we have over the next 48 hours. So I skipped right to Wednesday. By Wednesday morning, we're seeing a couple spotty sprinkles, but by mid-morning, we begin to see widespread showers. Widespread showers begin to enter Oneida County right around 9 a.m. They work through from 9 to noon. We can see another round of showers in the early afternoon hours. We do warm up behind these showers. It does look to warm up back into the mid-80s, but things do dry out for Thursday behind those rounds of showers on Wednesday. Clear skies tonight, another relatively cool night thanks to the lack of humidity, lows all the way down in the low 60s. Look at the 7-day forecast. Our next chance for rain after Wednesday doesn't come until Sunday. A beautiful stretch of dry weather for Thursday, for Friday and Saturday looking fantastic. Mostly sunny skies, low to mid 80s. And again, we're tracking the next chance for rainfall comes Sunday. I know a lot of us need rainfall out there. I've been hearing from a lot of people that they want me to do the rain dance over here, but we're holding out hope. I do think Wednesday we all get at least a little bit of rain.
Good. I think that's going to help Oneida Lake turn some of that algae over.
I hope so. I hope so. We had the perfect scenario for that to happen, where we got a lot of rain in May and then just a ton of heat and a ton of sun.
Right.
All right, thank you, sir. Heavy thunderstorms in west over the weekend.
As Lee Waldman reports, flash flooding led to water rescues.
Pummeling rain across the Midwest. Cars were flooded at the Wisconsin State Fairgrounds. The final day of the fair canceled. The USA Triathlon also canceled its Sprint National Championships and Paratriathlon National Championships Sunday due to flooding and damage on the course.
This flooding event, it's very significant. It's something that Milwaukee hasn't seen in perhaps a decade or more.
So much rain fell in Wisconsin Saturday into Sunday, it could set a new state record. A rain gauge in northwest Milwaukee recorded 14.5 inches of rain over a 24-hour period, according to the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District. Flash flooding covered roads, stranded vehicles, and prompted dozens of water rescues.
Just in that time, we had approximately 65 water rescue assignments for people such as the people that you're witnessing behind us here, who just are smarter than everybody else.
Meanwhile, in Nebraska, wind gusts over 80 miles per hour came into the area Saturday. Hundreds of inmates at the Nebraska State Penitentiary had to be moved after the storms damaged 2 housing units. One person was killed, another seriously injured by a large tree that fell onto their vehicle. Much of the Midwest will turn drier and cooler by the middle of the week before another round of storms is forecast. In New York, I'm Lee Waldman.
Coming up, a local peaceful place.
Meteorologist James DeFazio.
continue to track a primarily dry week, with Wednesday being our one shot for rain. Take a look at tonight's Skycast. Tonight's featured dog is Chiquita from Fairfield. And yes, it's a very warm night for a dog walk. You might want to hold off a couple of hours, especially due to the pause on the very hot concrete. But we do drop off tonight once the sun sets shortly after 8 p.m. Sunset tonight, 8:05 p.m. The temperatures will drop very quickly after 8 p.m., but until then, we are dealing with very hot conditions. We continue to track these 91-degree temperatures at Rome. We've hit a high of 92 degrees at Griffiths today. Very, very dry conditions, very, very low dew points, low levels of humidity. It's a very dry heat. We're not seeing that heat index add into the temperature. Temperatures across the region in the low 90s for the Mohawk Valley, mid to upper 80s for the hilltops north and south of I-90. We're tracking a heat wave to continue tomorrow. Scattered showers and storms arrive for our one shot for rain on Wednesday, and then dry weather returns to end the week and to begin next weekend. A slight cool down after tomorrow, but yet tomorrow is still going to be another very hot day, the third day of our likely heat wave. Coming up, we're going to take a look at those few but far between rainfall chances. Jason, Kristen?
All right, James, thank you. Wynn Hospital is celebrating.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist James DeFazio.
Good Monday evening. Another scorcher of a day across Central New York, and we're going to see one more extremely warm day tomorrow. Fortunately, we're seeing these temperatures with very low levels of humidity and very good air quality. Good air quality continues, as well as low levels of humidity through Tuesday. It gets a little bit more muggy on Wednesday. We're still in the low 90s with mostly sunny skies in downtown Utica, and it's going to stay warm through the evening hours. Once the sun sets, we'll see that temperature begin to drop down. It's still 91 degrees up in Rome. We're still seeing incredibly impressive numbers with regards to dew point. Very low levels of humidity. The feel-like temperature, yes, it's actually below the actual temperature. That's how dry the air is right now. That's something that almost never happens in Central New York in the summertime. Typically happens out west, but the air is that dry right now, and it's going to continue to stay with this dry heat into tomorrow. Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, quiet as a mouse, completely dry, stays that way through today, through tomorrow. Things change as we head into Wednesday. Wildfire smoke remains light to near non-existent through today, through Tuesday, through Wednesday. However, we are tracking, keeping an eye on a plume of smoke that's currently over the state of Minnesota. It's going to slowly track eastward. By Wednesday morning, it begins to enter western Michigan. We're going to keep an eye on that as we head towards next weekend. This next chance for rainfall arises as a cold front approaches on Wednesday, overnight, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. A couple of sprinkles possible, but the real show begins mid-morning Wednesday. We see a round of showers work through, another round of showers during the mid-afternoon, and then drier weather builds in for Thursday and for the beginning of the weekend. Your Clinton Tractor can implement Mocast dry weather forecast both Tuesday and Thursday. Opportunities to get the lawn cut. Wednesday, definitely going to need that rain on Wednesday to help the lawns from browning out around here. I have Skycast skipped ahead because there's not much to show you with regards to the next couple of days. We're just continuing to see comfortable nights and hot weather until Wednesday. That changes Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Tuesday night we see a couple of sprinkles. We see more widespread showers as we head into Wednesday morning. Again, that widespread shower works through during mid-morning. Another widespread shower works through during the mid-afternoon before drier weather settles in. These are non-severe thunderstorms. We're not tracking severe weather. We're not tracking excessive rainfall. Lows tonight comfortable again due to these low levels of humidity, 63 with clear skies. A look at your 7-day forecast. One more day to complete the heat wave. We're 2/3 down. We've hit 90 the last 2 days, and we're likely to hit 90 again tomorrow. Thunderstorms, very weak thunderstorms and showers throughout the day on Wednesday. Drier weather builds in on Thursday and settles in for Friday and Saturday. mostly sunny with highs in the mid-80s. Next chance for rain comes Sunday afternoon as scattered showers and again weak thunderstorms work through the region.
Time now for a first look at the forecast with meteorologist James DeFazio.
Continue to track very warm, nearly hot weather. It is a dry heat, but it's still hot out there. Temperatures across the Mohawk Valley still hanging on to the low 90s. Very impressive for this time of night. We're going to continue to see temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s for a couple of more hours before temperatures slowly subside as we head into the overnight. We have one more day of a very hot weather forecast. We're expecting the heat wave to be completed. I do expect it will climb well above 90 degrees tomorrow relatively easily, and then it settles into the mid-80s. It doesn't cool down all too much. Mostly sunny and dry and very hot in downtown Utica. Dry weather continues on your Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, and that continues until Wednesday morning. That's our next chance for rainfall. Still 91 degrees with sunny skies up in Rome. Very, very impressive. The south wind helping usher in this very warm air. Very low dew points making for a dry heat. Yes, the feel-like temperature actually beneath the actual temperature, that's just a great way to express how dry it is. It's incredibly impressive and very low dew points. Tonight, though, it stays warm through the evening hours, cools down after sunset for the next couple of hours between 80 to 85 degrees. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the few and far between rainfall chances in the forecast. Kristen, Jason?
All right, thanks, James. New at
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist James DeFazio.
Good evening. It was a scorcher of a day today. I was thinking about how quickly it warmed up this morning. We were in the 80s by 11 a.m. We were in the mid-80s by noon today. It took no time to warm up. That's going to continue again tomorrow. We're still very warm. We're in the low 90s. And we've hit a low of 92 degrees today at Griffiths and Rome, only further verifying that we're likely going to have our first official heat wave of the summer after tomorrow. It's 91 degrees with sunny skies in Rome. We have a 9-mile-per-hour breeze out of the south-southwest. It is making it feel a little bit more comfortable outside, that light breeze, but that south wind also drawing in that warmer air. We're also tracking very low dew points, very comfortable levels of humidity, very, very low dew points, creating a very dry heat outside. The feel-like temperature actually beneath the actual temperature. Very impressive for this time of year. Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, completely dry and quiet, and that continues through Tuesday, begins to change as we head into Wednesday. We continue to see good air quality, if not to near perfect air quality, through the day on Tuesday and into Wednesday morning. That fortunately continues through the day on Wednesday. However, smoke is beginning to billow down from where the wildfires are burning. Minnesota currently seeing some reduced air quality. Our smoke model's hinting that it begins to enter western Michigan by Wednesday morning. We're going to keep an eye on that as it tracks in our direction towards the weekend. We're also tracking a cold front that arrives during the day on Wednesday, and that is going to help bring us our next chance for rainfall. Overnight, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, a couple of sprinkles are possible, but as we head into mid-morning Wednesday, widespread rain showers move through the region, and then drier weather settles in for Thursday evening and for the beginning of the weekend. 2 dry days on Tuesday and Thursday. Unfortunately, Wednesday looking like a very rainy day. Too many rounds of rain, unfortunately, it looks like, to get it cut. I have the Skycast skipped all the way up until Tuesday night so we can view Wednesday here. There's not much to show you before then. Just a couple of scattered showers overnight, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Here comes that widespread round of rain during Wednesday morning. From 9 a.m. to noon, we all see a light shower. Another round of showers works through during the mid-afternoon hours before drier weather settles in. Tonight, we do cool down yet again due to that low level of humidity. Lows in the low 60s. The hilltops north and south of the valley will get down into the upper 50s as well. A look at your 7-day forecast. One more day to complete the heat wave. We're tracking scattered thunderstorms for Wednesday. Sunny skies settle in for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next chance for rainfall comes Sunday afternoon.
Absolutely great night for the concert as well.
Yes.
Let's bring in meteorologist James DeFazio. 9 days.
Yes, we hit 92 degrees yet again today at Griffith and Rome, 2 days in a row of a high of 92 degrees. We average 5 per summer, so if we do verify our forecast and we hit 90 again tomorrow, we will double our average number of days. It's been a very, very warm summer. Yes, and we will have achieved an official heat wave. We're tracking a few things in addition to the extremely warm weather. It's very, very comfortable outside. We're seeing very low dew points. Earlier today, the dew points were in the low 40s, upper 40s, low 50s. Incredibly impressive for temperatures, while temperatures are in the 90s. We saw a very rare phenomenon earlier tonight where the heat index, the feel-like temperature, was actually below the actual temperature because it was that dry across central New York. We saw levels of dry air that we typically see during the winter, and it was very impressive to see with these high temperatures. Currently in the mid to upper 60s across central New York. Lows tonight are actually going to dip down. Despite the warm temperatures today, those low levels of humidity are going to allow temperatures to dip down. Again, we're tracking this heat wave to continue for one more day before temperatures settle into the low to mid 80s. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the next chance for rainfall, which unfortunately is few and far between. Jason?
All right, James, thank you. One of the Marcy.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist James DeFazio.
Good Monday evening. It was a scorcher of a day today with highs peaking at 92 degrees at Griffith and Rome. Highs yesterday also at 92 degrees, and we expect highs to climb above 90 degrees again tomorrow, which would qualify us for an official heat wave. And shockingly, despite the warm summer we've had an extremely warm summer. We have yet to have an official heat wave. This would be our first official heat wave. Temperatures down to 71 degrees both in Utica and at Rome due to clear skies and low levels of humidity. And it's going to allow for temperatures to continue to fall tonight. Not overly humid, not overly uncomfortable sleeping weather. We're going to dip into the 60s region-wide. Areas north and south of the valley even cooler. Dry weather continues on your Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. We're not going to be tracking showers until early Wednesday morning. Tonight, again, those temperatures steadily decline. Now that we're past sunset, we're going to settle into the low 60s for Utica and Rome, but the rural areas both north and south of the Mohawk Valley will get into the mid to upper 50s, much cooler weather. Again, a very quick warm-up tomorrow, low 80s by 11 a.m., mid 80s by noon. The Perseid meteor shower peaks tomorrow, and if you'd like to take a look at this, you're going to want to look for the Perseus constellation, which is in the northeast direction in the sky, and you could view this just after sunset or just prior to sunrise over the 12th or the 13th, both presenting the best opportunities to see a meteor. Tonight, we're going to continue to see clear skies. Lows tonight, as I just mentioned a couple minutes ago, low 60s due to those low levels of humidity. We warm up quickly tomorrow morning. If you happen to wake up early tomorrow morning, another thing that's going to be visible in the sky, before sunrise, Jupiter and Venus are going to be visible in the eastern sky. And they're going to almost be touching each other. They're going to almost appear to be right next to each other. You're going to see two very small, but not too small, bright objects in the sky. Another good viewing opportunity. Warm weather continues tomorrow, but we're tracking this cold front to arrive on Wednesday. It's going to finally bring us some showers to central New York. Widespread rain moves through during the morning. Another round of rain moves through during the mid-afternoon and evening. Drier weather works in for Thursday and for the rest of the week. Lows tonight in the low 60s, approximately 63 degrees for the city of Utica with clear skies. Tomorrow, simply hot with highs near 91 degrees, but yet again, not a humid day. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, we're tracking those the return of showers on Wednesday with highs still climbing up into the mid-80s, another warm day. And even after the cold front, it doesn't cool off too much. Low to mid-80s for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with widespread sunshine, mostly sunny. Scattered thunderstorms Sunday afternoon, but all in all, we end up the week, all in all, the weekend is quite nice. And we begin next week in the mid-70s with mostly sunny skies.
This night out there for a concert, we bring in meteorologist James DeFazio.
Yes, good Monday evening.
Hot one today, and it's going to be hot again tomorrow.
Yes, we continue to talk about how hot of a summer we've had, and we haven't had an official heat wave yet, but we're one day away now. We're one more 90-degree day. We're up to 9 90-plus degree days this summer. We average 5, so if we hit 10 tomorrow, that would make twice the average, and I do expect we do so. Let's take a look at what we're tracking in a little bit more detail. We're tracking a couple of things tonight. Despite the hot temperatures, we have been spared humidity. It has been extremely dry. It's been a dry heat during the daytime. It's also allowing for us to have some comfortable sleeping weather. Temperatures being all the way up into the 90s, we're easily dropping into the low 60s each of the past 2 nights, and will do so yet again tonight. We continue to have relatively comfortable sleeping weather and relatively low levels of humidity. Again, those temperatures already down into the low 60s north and south of the valley, upper 60s to near 70 across the I-90 corridor. We're going to see lows right around low 60s in the Utica and Rome area, a little bit cooler north and south of the valley. They'll get into the mid and upper 50s. Tomorrow, our last day of the heat wave, highs tomorrow yet again into the low 90s, but even after that, we settle into mid 80s for the remainder of the week and the beginning of the weekend. We're not going to cool down a whole lot. Continue to track plenty of warm, dry weather. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the few rainfall chances that we do have in the forecast. Jason?
All right, James, thank you. One of the Marcy...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist James DeFazio.
Good Monday evening. We had a scorcher of a day across central New York, and we are 2/3 of the way towards a heat wave, and it looks like we are going to officially achieve one tomorrow with highs looking to crack 90 degrees yet again. Temperatures tonight, though, due to the low levels of humidity, clear skies, we are seeing temperatures drop. We were in the mid-80s during the 6 p.m. news. We're down to 72 degrees, and we're going to drop down into the 60s tonight within the city of Utica. And that's due to these low levels of humidity. These low levels of humidity continue through the day tomorrow. Another day of dry heat, not extremely muggy conditions. Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, quiet and dry, and it stays that way until Wednesday morning. Again, we're tracking some cooler temperatures tonight. Lows tonight in the Utica and Rome area are going to be right around 63 degrees, low 60s. It's going to be a little bit cooler, though, for the areas both north and south of the Mohawk Valley. They're going to get down into the mid to upper 50s. Also want to make you aware of an astrological feature that's going to be present the next 2 days. The Perseid meteor shower starts later tonight. It peaks the next 2 days on August 12th and 13th. If you want to look towards the northeast portion of the sky, look for the constellation Perseus. And the best viewing for this would be just after sunset and just before sunrise. And again, this peaks over the next 2 days. Skycast tonight showing widespread clear skies, and that's going to help allow these temperatures to drop down to comfortable sleeping levels, as well as those low levels of humidity. Tomorrow, it wastes no time warming up. We climb through the 80s during the morning hours. We're into the mid-80s by noon, upper 80s for the entirety of the afternoon. We reach the low 90s. We're tracking the showers to arrive early Wednesday morning. They're very isolated to begin the day on Wednesday, but as we head towards Wednesday morning, mid-morning, widespread rain moves through, another round of widespread rain during the mid-afternoon hours, and then drier weather settles in for the remainder of Thursday and the remainder of the work week. Tomorrow, simply hot conditions. It is a dry heat, highs in the low 90s, approximately 91 degrees. A look at your 7-day forecast. We're tracking one more extremely hot day with widespread sunshine, but it is a dry heat. The humidity begins to build in Tuesday night into Wednesday. Showers arrive during the day on Wednesday with association with the cold front, highs in the mid 80s. Slightly cooler Thursday and Friday, low to mid 80s. With partly to mostly sunny skies. Next chance for rain is going to come on Sunday afternoon as another front works through. Scattered showers and thunderstorms Sunday afternoon. We'll be right back.